Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I had a few people send me some emails and make some comments saying that I contradict myself in my videos, and that in one video I'll be talking about how gold is going to be the safe haven asset and the place that you want to be during a economic collapse, and that it's undervalued, stuff like that. And then in another video, I'll be talking about how the dollar is strengthening and that we may be experiencing a dollar bubble coming into the future, and that dollars are where you want to be during the crash. And these two statements sound contradictory to each other, because you think, like, typically if gold is going up, then the dollar must be going down, and if the dollar is going up, then gold must be going down. But I honestly feel that there is going to come a time in the future where both the dollar and the gold are going to rise together. And what's happening with the dollar strengthening, at least, or in my mind, the dollar going to go into a bubble, is that so much has been promised out there in dollars. Contracts between nations, contracts with businesses, contracts of bonds and dealings of all sorts have been written in dollars throughout the entire world. And a lot of times when these things are due, when these contracts saying, hey, these things is due in dollars, they can sell those contracts as if they're dollars. So nobody knows how big or how many dollars are going to be needed in order to facilitate the amount of demand that's going to come from all these people who have made promises in dollars. You see where I'm kind of getting at here? When this thing starts to come due, when all these promises out there and people are like, I don't want the promise anymore, I want the cash, and that demand for cash starts to rise, we have no idea on how much cash is needed to meet that world demand. Okay, so that's why I feel that there could be a dollar bubble coming into the future, is that there is no idea. Nobody, the Fed don't know, the governments don't know, nobody knows how much is needed in order to facilitate that trade. And then if you're sitting in the position where you're looking out at the system and you're thinking, man, there is no way that this can last. There is no way that this system can continue to function in the fashion that it is without a complete and utter collapse. And if that's the way you feel, then there is nothing else out there that is going to carry you over to the other side like gold. Gold is the only thing that can do it like it can. And now we got cryptocurrencies that kind of throws a monkey wrench into the whole process. Because with cryptocurrencies, now we have a game where you don't need the physical possession. You don't need to store it. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need to secure that private key. And with the days of smart contracts and, the new way of doing business, it could make a lot of government and authority simply irrelevant. I mean, smart contracts are going to execute regardless. So you don't need to go to a court and say, hey, man, this guy didn't pay me. I got a contract that says he is. The contract's going to, execute regardless. So now you don't need court systems being tied up with contracts, with people like, what do they call that when they fail to honor a contract or whatever, That's the kind of thing that I see happening in the future with cryptocurrencies. But when it comes to the banking system itself, there's no way that the Federal Reserve can continue to keep interest rates low forever. Cannot happen. If they do, they will eventually fall upon their own weight. They will just basically make themselves irrelevant. They will make themselves non-existent. And it's not something that I think, a group of what are supposed to be intelligent men would do. Right? They would not sit there on a path of complete destruction. Now, there's other central banks in the past that have done it, but those were governments in operation of their central bank. They were, basically having to answer to their constituents. They had to, basically make the people happy. And if they ran their banks into the ground, they were like, hey, we're government. That's how it works. I don't know how else to explain it. The government doesn't do anything right. They never do anything right or complete. And so with the Federal Reserve being like an independent thought when it comes to the monetary policies and, basically handling the economy, the world economy, that's what the Federal Reserve is doing, then I really doubt that these guys would make a decision that says, hey, if we do this in about 5 or 10 years or 20 years, we're just going to be completely out of the game and we won't even exist anymore. I mean, somebody else is going to come up with a better idea and they're going to flood out the Federal Reserve notes with a better currency. I mean, if that is something that you think the Federal Reserve is going to do, then yeah, I mean, I guess you would want to be into gold, but I honestly don't think the Federal Reserve would pretty much commit suicide in such fashions. I think they want to convince everybody that they'll keep interest rates low forever, but I don't think they will. And at some point, I feel the interest rates will rise. And I know a lot of people are saying that it won't happen, that the government will collapse if it does or whatever. You can always raise taxes and you can always cut your benefits. Okay? Because that's what's going to end up happening, is you're going to end up paying more and get less. All right. Anyway, sorry about the little bit of a rant there. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Jesus, man, I can't talk. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.